security worldwide. The working dogs continually go through their training process, and you're going to see the integration of a man and a dog. It's absolutely unbelievable. With our working dog demonstration, it's 5 minutes, oh, just about 2 minutes over on the right-hand side of the flight line. Aircraft are getting off the ground. You know, when you're flying airplanes that are almost 70 years old, it is kind of like getting an old man up and getting him rocking around. So they do have a few little issues before they launch the airplane, so we do have a slight break. And of course, we briefed for the TORA Act to be taking over at 9 minutes after 11. So I tell you what, Kevin's got us up to about 9 minutes ahead. So this is a perfect opportunity for you to go to the refrigerators that are located strategically around on the flight line. Most people call them porta-johns, but you know, I've seen one there. I am never able to get the sink to work in those things. But make sure that you're staying hydrated, you're taking lots of liquids in, and if you do that, you'll have to visit the refrigerator. Also, our concession stands. We've got multiple locations on the right and left and rear. Hopefully, no waiting. Our fine people from San Francisco Puffin Stuff, aided by volunteers from the base here, are operating our concession stands. So make sure that you stop there, get some good cold beverages, keep that water and other intakes going in, because although the temperature right now is very nice, it's sunny, the humidity is extremely low, and you will become dehydrated. People that don't drink enough water and end up giving our medics practice, and some of them are using square needles, folks, so be careful. And you know, it's best to avoid having to get that dehydrated. But if you do, if you need any problems, if you have anything that you see unusual or anything, please just point that out to any of our uniformed personnel, and it will be immediately addressed.
At Hickam Air Force Base, look forward to a relaxing Sunday in a beautiful island paradise. But that is not to be. At 0753, Lieutenant Monsieur Fichita keys his radio and issues those now famous words, Tora, 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 signifying the Japanese have achieved complete surprise. Ladies and gentlemen, it's December 7th, 1941, Pearl Harbor, and you are there! Your confusion as the first bombs explode, the first sirens and alarms sound. Right now, right here, listen to the sounds of battle. Hear the sirens just as they did that day. Feel the explosions hammer your chest just as they did. Smell the smoke as it burns your nostrils just as they did that fateful Sunday morning. Look, listen, and remember, for we must never forget. The Japanese planes attack relentlessly. Many servicemen believe the attack is some kind of crazy air raid drill. They think the airplanes are American. In fact, one soldier remarks, "This is the best dang drill the Air Force has ever put on." But when the rising suns become visible on the wings of the airplanes, everyone knows this is no drill. General Short, the commander of Army Forces, is notified of the attack while playing golf. His response is, "That is ridiculous." General Short will wish he could have been right, but he has never been more wrong. The highly coordinated attack goes off like clockwork. At 0755, bombers attack Wheeler and Hickam Air Force Base. 2 minutes later, torpedo planes, just like the ones you are seeing in front of you right now, begin their attack on Battleship Road. Sleepy-eyed soldiers stumble outside to see Japanese airplanes everywhere, circling the skies, waiting to attack the ships lined up side by side along Battleship Road in the middle of Pearl Harbor. Lined up like sitting ducks, they make great targets. In fact, the Japanese have designed a new torpedo capable of striking the ships in a shallow harbor, a technological advancement the Americans are sadly unaware of. The practice ship Utah was the first to be hit. It lists and sinks. The light cruiser Raleigh takes 2 torpedoes. The battleship Oklahoma and West Virginia are next. The Oklahoma lists, then capsizes, rolling onto the battleship USS Maryland. When the Oklahoma sinks, her belly thrusting out of the burning waters of Pearl Harbor, hundreds of men are trapped. Only 32 of these men would be rescued, and not until a full 36 hours after the attack. The battleship California takes 2 torpedoes and sinks. At that same time, the USS Arizona, which has already taken a torpedo, has a bomb strike next to its number 2 turret. The 1,700-pound projectile penetrates deep into the belly, first through 1 deck, then through 2 decks. It detonates the number 2 magazine, and seconds later, the Arizona erupts like a volcano, rising out of the harbor, flames shooting over 500 feet into the air. Almost 1,200 men perished in that moment, sent to a watery grave. Those brave young men still rest in the hold of that great ship at the Arizona Memorial. A testament to their courage, their sacrifice, and their honor. At 08:35, the first wave ends. The damage is horrendous. In Washington at 08:50 Hawaii time, early afternoon in the States, an hour after the attack began, Secretary of State Cordell Hull, well aware of what is transpiring in Hawaii, erupts when given a letter from the Japanese breaking off peace talks. I have never seen a document that was more crowded with infamous falsehoods and distortions on a scale so huge that I never imagined until today that any government on this planet was capable of uttering them. The second wave of the Japanese attack swarms over Hawaii at 08:55. 132 additional aircraft spread out to hit ships, airfields, and barracks throughout Oahu. But for the second wave, the element of surprise is gone, and the Americans fight back, making the Japanese pay, inflicting some damage of their own. A bomb hits the destroyer Downs while she sits in dry dock. Another strikes the commander of naval forces, Admiral Husband E. Kimmel's flagship, the battleship Pennsylvania, which is in dry dock, detonating guns and ammunition. Dive bombers attack the Raleigh, which has already been hit by torpedoes. 1 bomb misses the ship's aviation tanks by mere feet. The battleship Tennessee takes 2 bombs and sinks. The flames on the West Virginia now reach as high as the foresail. The attack is devastating, but the day has numerous stories of heroism. On the Nevada, at the south end of Fort Island, it's able to open fire at 0-2, although her captain and senior officers are not on board. Lieutenant Commander J.F. Thomas ignores his wounds and gets the ship underway, even with a huge hole in her port bow. And in order not to block the channel, Lieutenant Commander Thomas beaches the wounded ship on Hospital Point. Also, on the Nevada, 21-year-old Joseph Talbot Jr., officer of the deck, mans an aircraft battery and continues to direct fire at enemy aircraft even after a bullet passes through his thigh. He refuses to leave his comrades, refuses to leave the battle. There are also stories of irony. Yeoman First Class, Leonard Webb, rushes to get his wife and child to a car. This is his story. When we were almost to the car, my wife says the baby doesn't have any diapers. Get some. As word of the extent of the devastation reaches Washington, the country is stunned. Later that day, President Franklin Roosevelt addresses a shocked nation.
By naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. The attack yesterday on the Hawaiian Islands has caused severe damage to American naval and military forces. I regret to tell you that very many American lives have been lost. With confidence in our armed forces, with the unbounding determination of our people, we will gain the inevitable triumph. So help us God.
At 10 o'clock, the last of the strike force makes its way back to the waiting carriers, and the Japanese ships begin their long journey back to Japan. The attack lasted only 120 minutes, but American bases lay in ruins, smoke billowing up from the devastation. 8 battleships, 3 cruisers, 3 destroyers, and 4 auxiliary ships. 18 ships in all lay foundering in the oil-covered waters of Pearl Harbor. More than 350 aircraft stand broken or completely destroyed. In reality, America's Pacific Fleet has simply ceased to exist. But most horrific, 3,500 Americans lay dead or wounded in what remains of Pearl Harbor and Hickam Air Force Base. The Japanese lost 29 planes and less than 200 men. The Army and Navy spend the rest of the day attending to the wounded and putting out fires. The Arizona alone burns for 3 days. Yes, President Roosevelt issued a call to arms, and America listened. No one expected the surprise attack that fateful day. America was not ready for war, but America responded. America pulled together, and America was victorious. Young men joined the armed forces to defend this nation as women took their place in factories, working long, hard hours to energize American industry, to produce the needed materials to send a nation to war. Families rationed food and gasoline and many other items, sacrificing their own needs for the good of a nation. Liberty Gardens sprung up around the country so food could be sent to troops abroad. An entire nation refused to give in, refused to quit, refused to allow democracy to be destroyed. This nation, your nation, stood strong, stood proud, and in the face of adversity, against all odds, this nation prevailed. This was not the first time the United States has been challenged, threatened, or tested, and it will not be the last. Right now, as we enjoy this wonderful day, our sons, daughters, husbands, our wives, uncles, cousins, friends, our countrymen are defending America in far-off lands, sacrificing so you and I might enjoy the lasting tradition of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We must never forget those who have sacrificed to make sure America stays strong. Please remember those brave young men and women. I would ask, when you see someone in uniform, go up to them, look them right in the eye, shake their hand and say, "We are proud of what you do and thank you." This is not a story just about them though. This is a story about each and every one of you. Listen to me today, you can make a difference. You can be strong just as this nation has. You can make a difference just as this nation has. We are part of the greatest nation in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, we are Tora, Tora, Tora! Gentlemen, take this moment to savor what we have and to pledge to become involved in your community, your government, your surroundings, and your neighborhood. We must not become spectators to our own destiny. I hope today we stirred something in your heart and soul, made you feel proud of who you are and proud to be an American. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commemorative Air Force, an organization of thousands worldwide committed to the preservation of aviation history, would welcome you to visit one of the finest aviation history museums ever created in Midland, Texas, celebrating more than 150 aircraft used in the period from 1939 to 1945, or on our website at commemorativeairforce.org. We would appreciate your support. Please put our hands together and thank our pilots, Mark Allen, Bill Terrell, Patrick Hutchins, Dan Reedy, Billy Parker, Mike Burke, and Mr. Hutchins and Ron Wright. Out of the pyro fields, Gordon Webb, Todd Meminger, and my wife, Ginger Gowart. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Roger Gowart. We are Tora, Tora, Tora. We want you to have a wonderful day. Be safe, be prosperous, and most important, be proud to be an American.
Thank you, Roger. Wow. Told you we're going to have enough pyro out there to barbecue whatever you need to do. We really appreciate the County of Wayne, North Carolina, Progress Energy providing power for eastern North Carolina, the city of Goldsboro, the good folks.